You know what? When you blur your screen like that, your microphone gets blurred.
Wait, what?
I can't see your mic.
Oh, I think you were saying my audio gets blurred. Okay, wait, let me hold
No,
on.
no, 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 no. I just mean like when you move closer to your mic, I can see it, but like that, I can't.
Can you see it now?
Yeah, I like that better.
The
I
mic.
like seeing your painting in the background.
I painted that.
I know you
Was
did with your
indeed.
sister.
I did. I did. I'm a painter. Picasso called. He wants his creativity back.
I like it, Picasso.
I like it, Picasso.
Um, one sec, let me put this in here really quickly, just so I can forget about it. And then I will be ready. Do, do. So you saw SpongeBob today.
I did. I did. I saw at the gym. I was but walking into the change room, and as I was walking in, this dude was walking out, and he looked like professional SpongeBob,
That's
like
hilarious.
circle SpongeBob-esque. I literally looked. I had to do a double take because I was like, "What did I just
You,
see?"
are you
SpongeBob?
sure you didn't pop out of the
Bikini,
cartoon?
yeah, a Bikini Bottom. Like, also, can we just take in thinking about Bikini Bottom? Like, how weird is that name? A kid
Yeah,
show called Bikini Bottom.
I never thought about that
Like I'm
until.
just thinking about that. I'm like Bikini Bottom. Like that is literally so gross.
But no, if you look back at SpongeBob episodes, okay, COVID was a conspiracy time. But if you
Yeah.
look back at a lot of SpongeBob episodes, like they have an episode with the Freemasons in it. Like, why are you
What?
putting that in? Yeah,
Which one?
I don't remember, but you can search it up.
There's an
Yeah, and like just a lot of things that they say, like, I don't know, it's fucking hilarious. Well, it's not hilarious, but adults put things that make them like laugh or like,
yeah.
in there, but in a way where kids won't get it.
Yeah.
So they think it's just
Like Bikini
it's
Bottom, I'm sorry. The first time someone probably heard that the town was called Bikini Bottom, they were like, "What?" Probably.
yeah.
And
No,
people
I never thought about that.
same. I was always like, "Oh my God, Bikini Bottom." My mom was like,
What are you doing?
"Yeah." SpongeBob producers, what's going on?
Yeah.
And then Ariana
Okay.
Grande now is dating SpongeBob too.
I really wanted to send one of the videos that popped up on my page about like the Ariana Grande situation to Allison, but I didn't want to be like buzzkill over her enjoying the new song.
Oh no, literally. I didn't know either. I didn't know either until like someone was like, "Oh yeah, it's about her in this relationship." I was like, "Damn. Damn."
She's literally saying, I can sit on whoever's dick. Yes, and like you have anything to say about it? Okay, and I don't care.
Like, yeah, oof, tough. That's
Yeah.
gross. Especially
So
I won't get into that now.
she's a June Cancer. It's okay.
She's a June Cancer. That's the reason.
Is it? Yeah, I think she is. I'm sure she's like born on the 26th of June. Ariana Grande
I have no idea
birthday.
when Ariana
Yeah,
Grande.
June 26th. Wow, look at my memory.
You knew.
Okay, so let's talk about neuroplasticity.
Oh my gosh. This is crazy because we talk about the brain so much, or we talk about mindset so much, and neuroplasticity is essentially plays into everything we've talked about because it's the way your brain, how malleable your brain is and how much it grows throughout your life based on
Mhm.
what you put it through.
You still have the angel on your head.
Oh yeah, I know. It's
Okay. I didn't know if you realized.
oh, oh no,
That's so
you're
funny
looking at me. I was like, why is she looking so intently?
because into the group.
You
Okay.
ready for it?
Um, okay, well, Mano,
What?
you're distracting me.
I don't worry.
Okay, SpongeBob. Okay, chill. Let's get to this. We
Sorry.
have
Okay, sorry. Continue. Continue. Come on.
okay. No, you were the one talking.
Oh, sorry. I'll stop.
Go,
Oh,
talk.
oh, I thought you were gonna say something.
You were explaining neuroplasticity
Oh, I was explaining.
because I can assume what the term means, but I didn't know the definition of this term before you chose this topic.
Okay, so let me change to my educational cap. And I will explain this. So, have you ever felt stuck in your ways, convinced that you can't change certain things about yourself?
I don't think Mano wants to film the podcast today.
I'm sorry. I'm literally
That
today.
was so ad. That was
I
so
know, I know.
ad
No,
core.
but like essentially, okay, so in life, we always have points in time where we're just not feeling it. So you're like about to burst out laughing, and it's like it's distracting.
I can't. Okay, go.
Okay, okay, okay. Um, sorry to everyone listening. Today's like one of those fun episodes where me and Ashley like are sorry, me, I'm fucking around too much.
It's
Um,
Sina. Ignore it.
the way. Wait, how the hell did you see that?
I got it.
You got it? What? How did you get that? Oh, from embodiment. You got it from embodiment. That's fine. Okay. Yeah. Oh my God, the way you knew I was gonna look look down. Um, so yeah, essentially, in terms of neuroplasticity, obviously we're not experts in terms of the brain, but we've done a lot of YouTube watching, YouTube research, and like Google,
And
um,
reading.
and reading. Yeah, yeah, no, exactly. Like obviously there's a bunch of different things, but essentially it's the way your brain works and the way your brain grows over time during your life. And like one thing I wanted to point out is that I had someone come in to our school like 2 weeks ago, I think. Um and his name was Greg Wells, and he was talking about the brain and like how, and I actually took videos of it. Like, I took videos of his whole talk because it was really interesting. And he talked about how what like the different ways your brain learns and how you can optimize that kind of stuff. And the cool thing he said was you think better when you're moving in motion doing something. So he was like, when you are sitting on your bed all day or sitting on the couch all day doing work, you're actually thinking less than you would, or you're being less smart about your work versus if you were to get up and walk around for like every 25 minutes, you get up, walk around for a bit and like stay active, because he showed us even like proof, right? When a he showed us an example of a zebrafish. So when a zebrafish is swimming through the ocean, its whole brain is like lit up and like moving in different sections and whatever. But when it stops, its brain goes gray. So like it stops thinking when it stops moving. And he was like, it's the same for humans. And he's like, wait, can you, I can't hear you. I cannot hear you. Wait, hold on. Today is not the filming day, is it? I can't hear you still. Technical difficulties. Do, 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 do.
Hello?
Oh, I hear you. I got it.
Wait, hello? Okay, can you hear me now?
Yep, I got it.
Okay. No, I was just gonna say it's also like you become more attentive when you're moving around. And what one thing my business ethics and business prof actually pointed out recently was he asked like who do you know out of speakers around the world, entrepreneurs around the world who walk back and forth while they're talking? like on stage in front of people. And he started talking about Steve Jobs and the reason why, and he went into the whole spiel about why, which it goes back to like our natural survival instincts, fight or flight, right? And so that's a big part of it, but it's also the fact that when you're moving and your blood is flowing more, you're obviously getting more oxygen to your brain. You're more inclined to be breathing more properly when you're moving around versus sitting down where like you might be hunched over, short of breath, right? So, but yeah, and it's also again just like being attentive, totally attentive. When you're moving your body, you're more inclined to be attentive, even if you don't realize at first, you're more conscious.
Well, it's also the thing of, and that's completely right, but it's also a thing of when you see these really gigantic, bigger than life people like Steve Jobs and Elon Musk and whatever, speaking on stage and they're walking around, not only does it help them think, but it helps them captivate the attention of the room.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
Because
because
they're
it puts everyone who's in the room in that fight or flight,
Yeah, because
right? Because
it's like
it's
a
like,
predatory thing, right? Like we
yeah,
have to watch it moving, right?
yeah.
And like that's why I try. I mean, on the phone, if you see me on the phone, I'm literally pacing around the room, running
I
up.
have to try and tell you to stop to moving
Yeah.
around because you go back and forth so fast.
And that's what because I move a lot when I'm trying to think. It works so much better for me when I'm walking around.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm like, it just makes more sense for me specifically to walk around. That's just the way I speak. Even in presentation sometimes, I try my best to stay still. Like I try to like stay in one place, but usually I end up like like straying and like going at least like maybe like going forward or going back and like doing
Yeah.
um and it's just it helps you think, but it also helps you captivate the attention of the room.
Yeah.
And people learn in stories. So if you can create a narrative around what you're presenting or what you're doing, you
Yeah.
are more likely to attract people's attention and get them to engage with you, and
Yeah.
get them to do what you want. So, I mean, that's not really neuroplasticity. That's more so just the common, like what the brain does,
Yeah.
and like how to optimize your learning. But I just say that in a short way to explain neuroplasticity, it's like basically the way your brain rewires itself
Yeah.
and
Well,
creates
and
ways.
I read neuroplasticity and I was like, oh my goodness, we do this in so many different ways. Like when you change a habit, you're using neuroplasticity. When you did that cold tub last week, like that's rewiring your brain, right? And you become so much more attentive, so much more concentrated afterwards. When you read in the morning versus maybe at nighttime, like because you're in, what is it? Is it theta state? No,
No, it isn't alpha.
I think it's alpha. Yeah. I don't remember. That episode was so long ago.
Yeah, yeah.
But you're in alpha state. And so your brain is a lot more malleable in terms of what you feed into your subconscious. So if you're strategic about the ways that you habitually do things, like your paradigm, in the way that and paradigm being the repetitive habitual things that you do every day, right? um, then you can totally, what's the word? I'm trying to think of the word. You can totally unlock that neuroplasticity at another level where you come out feeling and like maybe even looking like a completely different person than you were 3 months ago, 6 months ago, a year ago.
And that's the amazing part about the brain, just in terms of just the human body, the human brain, is that your brain is not fixed. Like
Yeah.
talk about
No,
like quantum
everything's always
accelerator.
changing.
It's always yeah, it's for ever changing and like the way and that's kind of it gives you a little bit of peace because even though like some people may have the preconception or like the misconception that they're not smart enough or that they are never going to be good at something and considering the way the brain works and how it's constantly adapting and evolving like even if you aren't good at something now, you can become good at it because
Yeah.
the brain itself is literally made to adapt to change and then basically allow you to learn those new things um and implement them into your life, right? If you need to learn it,
Yeah.
your brain is going to teach you how to learn it, which is
Yeah.
why in a math
It's
test, even if you
it's
don't know what the hell you're doing, you can still get a good mark if you put the effort in.
yeah. It's and I think it's really cool that you chose this topic too, just because I am reading Unlimited Power by Tony Robbins, and I've just finished listening to it second time around, Change Your Paradigm by Bob Proctor. So I listened to it again, right? Because at the end of it, he says, I want you to listen to 30 minutes of this every morning for the next 60 days, right? And you don't fully absorb something if you read it or listen to it once. So this is my first attempt at re-listening to a book. And I'm gonna go on to the third time now. But something he talks about is, well, first of all, you are what you think, right? If you're accepting and thinking things that hold you down, you're gonna be held down. Um, Second of all, you can change that, whether it be in 24 hours, whether it be as Tony Robbins Tony Robbins talks about is changing people's state within like 5 minutes, right? You can go from feeling depressed and deprived to feeling like you just cultivated the most power, like everyone's power in the room with like literally in 5 minutes. Um, so that, and then also one story that Bob Proctor was talking about was um and I forget his name, but he was the creator of Hotmail, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Hotmail. But Jesus, my throat. Um, but he moved to America with like no money, no friends, no family. But he told himself, and he fully believed it, that he was going to build one of the fastest growing, I I think, billion-dollar companies in the world. And because he fully believed that, he did it, even though he literally came here with nothing, had no people to back him up. Like he knew he was going to do that. And so I think that goes hand in hand with neuroplasticity because you can start with nothing. And because you've convinced your brain that you are something else, you will slowly start to change into that. And that could be having nothing, but still having the belief, or that can be not having the belief and changing to having the belief, right?
That's yeah, absolutely. Like it goes into neuroplasticity and beliefs are heavily tied, and I think, and I obviously I could be wrong because I'm not a scientist or I study these things, but like based on your beliefs, your brain is going to reshape itself based on what you truly believe.
Yeah.
That's why people say like manifest in terms of saying things in the present tense because you're telling your brain that you already have these things. And even if your brain subconsciously knows that you're doing the manifestation thing, it
Hmm.
still is putting that energy into your thought, your conscious thought process.
Yeah, well, and I think I've said this to you before, but you go through things twice. First, you think about it, then you do it. So if you think about something and it's not something you want to believe, but it's maybe from your old paradigm, then as soon as you think that, trigger, like put it in your head, okay, if I think I'm fat, what am I going to replace that with? I'm the hottest bitch around or something, right? And so every time that your brain throws that old paradigm in there, because our subconscious does it, we see things, we feel things, we hear things that trigger those things. It takes work in order to pull ourselves out of that. It's not just easy peasy, it happens.
Yeah.
Um, but getting started is the hardest part. So you need to choose if say again, like say you feel like, okay, I'm fat. Okay, no, I'm the hottest bitch around, or something like that. And then
Yeah.
every single time that your brain subconsciously throws that thought in there, you go, no, I'm the hottest bitch around. And then eventually it's going to switch over. And instead of hearing I'm fat in your head, you're going to hear I'm the hottest bitch around. And you're going to be like, yeah. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So you start to believe it. It takes time and it takes effort. But the more that you implement and you carve that into your brain, the more that those beliefs are going to come into fruition.
And that's why we're always saying, especially also with the big five around you, because
Yeah.
people around you are also going to help you stick those things in your mind. Like if you say I'm fat, like, and you have good people around you, they're gonna be like, no, you're the hottest bitch around, as you said, and they're gonna like reinforce that in your mind. So it's like not, constantly on the surface, and it's starting to get pushed down or like even
Yeah.
pushed out entirely. We don't want to
Yeah.
push anything down into us. We want to push it out of us.
Yeah.
And like I even saw that in elementary school because in elementary school, it was literally I thought I was so dumb in elementary school. Like I literally was like I'm not smart. I can't do anything. I whatever because like everyone around me was telling me that. My teachers were like, "Yeah, your son, he can't do this and he can't do that." And he's like whatever. Like they in parent teacher interviews, toxic.
Yeah.
Like they were toxic because I literally came out of them
Well,
always being like, "Oh, I can't do
teachers
anything."
teachers aren't taught how to speak to students, right? And even you look in any sport, and this is why, like, yes, there's some situations where maybe a coach does something and it ignites change in you because it's just like it goes so against what you believe that you're like, okay, I'm gonna fucking prove it to you. But this is why my dad does what he does, is because there's coaches out there that say shit to you or they try to intimidate you before a game or something. And because of that, you're thrown off for the game because automatically it triggers whether it be fight or flight or something else
Yeah.
that throws you off and diminishes that belief that you're capable of doing it. So, same thing in schools. Not all teachers are taught how to speak to us properly. Not all teachers care enough, right? Maybe some do, and some are gentle and cautious and whatever, but it's something where you have to learn to be resilient towards it. And I feel heavily I feel heavily aligned to what you just said too. And recently, you know how I kind of like felt like I was in a rut for a little bit. I found that way of thinking popping into my head again, right? Like the, oh, well, I'm not that smart, da, da, da.
Yeah.
And it's when, and I'm going to pull the change your paradigm back into it, but it's when you fall back into those old habits, that old paradigm, where it starts to trigger the domino effect of everything else that you felt or did in that paradigm. And so I wasn't pulling myself to the gym. I was letting myself think certain things. I was kind of just like hermiting, right? And like when all of that happens, then what happens to my brain is okay, those old thoughts that come when I used to be maybe sadder or like less confident, those started to come in. And then once you get started in doing the stuff that elevates your paradigm to a new one, then you realize, oh my God, like I just had to do this, this, and this in order. And it feels like after you get through the starting part, then you're like, okay, this feels easier. But that big, like, it's always the starting point that is the hardest hurdle to get over. And then you start to feel like you can rework your brain in any way possible.
That is so real. Actually, I resonate with that too. Literally, because I obviously understand like we talk outside of the podcast, obviously. So
Yeah.
we know a little more about our lives, but like even in the sense where you were saying, there's some points where you're like, I'm not smart enough, whatever, like those were
Yeah.
creeping back for me too. And I was like, no, 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 I need to get rid of them. I need to dispose of them because like that's not gonna do me any good. Thinking
Yeah.
that stuff because again, it's mainly coming from the imposter syndrome of like
Yeah.
I've realized most of these thoughts come from just not believing or that you deserve to be in the place that you're in.
And I also you just said something that pointed me towards this, but I think in terms of neuroplasticity and in actually making changes, instead of just, and this is where I have issues sometimes, is I'll just be like, no, don't think that, instead of replacing it with something else,
Mm.
right? Because if you're just brushing it off, it's still hindering, right? So you have to replace it with something else to actually make that neuroplasticity change in your brain.
So instead of saying I am not smart, I am super intelligent.
Yeah, like I'm the baddest bitch around,
Yeah, exactly.
right?
Exactly. That's literally it. Like at the end of the day, everyone goes through this. I think imposter syndrome, everyone has it in some aspect of their lives. People are faking it, but some people let it affect them more than others,
Yeah.
right? And I think that's why, in terms of, I just want to say for imposter syndrome specifically, I think everyone faces it. And I think getting or changing that, changing what it says in your brain, that's where the real change happens.
Yeah.
So now instead of saying like I don't deserve this, I'm gonna say I'm the only one that deserves this. You
Or
know?
like, yeah. Or I've never deserved something more in my life or
Yeah,
something like
exactly.
that.
I or
Yeah.
I'm the highest performer in my field in the world.
Yeah.
Like
Or like I built the most successful company or something. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
it has to be something that fuels the direction that you want to go into instead of feeding the paradigm that you're trying to pull yourself out of.
exactly.
I love that word. Paradigm.
Paradigm. Yeah, paradigm. I know paradigm is such a
Paradigm.
reminds me of like dimensions, kind of like
Mm.
you're a different dimension, but because it's like a different way of doing everything.
It also it reminds me of when I kind of like started my spiritual journey at the beginning of 2022. Even though I feel like it started before that, but that was when I first like consciously started it
Yeah.
because I was talking to this person and he kept talking about paradigm and I was like, what the hell is that? Like I didn't fully grasp the concept. And so coming back to it and being able to like listen to the book that I'm listening to and listen to it so many times in a row and actually understand it fully and like want to keep absorbing that, it's a total flip and script, right? Like before I didn't take the action and now I'm changing the paradigm and taking the action.
There you go. There you go. That's what we like to see. And then now I need to read that book still because I feel like I've been reading I've been
Dude,
reading this.
just the photo.
I know for the photo. We won't
Don't
show,
show it on here. She might kill me.
but like I've been reading the 48 Laws of Power. I honestly love it because the way, and again, the way they describe things in the book is through stories. The
Mhm.
entire book is like a story. Every single chapter, it's like there was once a person
It's
called
very scholarly.
Yes,
That book is very scholarly, I'd say.
it's very scholarly, but like I love it. Like I've read it before. I just am now reading it again because I'm like I just loved it so much. Um, and like I actually had a conversation one time with a lady who I told that I read like the 48 Laws of Power, or I think she said that she asked a man what his favorite book was on a date, and he said the 48 Laws of Power, and she was like, he's a narcissist. I'm dumping him. And she literally like never talked to me again just because he said he read sorry readed he read the 48 Laws of Power, and I was like,
Would I be sexist if I agreed with her?
really?
I'm
Wait, let's
kidding.
let's talk about this. Why?
No, I don't I
I
don't
read
think
it.
yeah, but you're excused. No, and I don't mean it like that, but I think there are so many and I think The 48 Laws of Power is a very influential book. I just think if it is his favorite book, like maybe Rich Dad Poor Dad or Think and Grow Rich, maybe, or like the book by David Goggins, or let's keep naming them. I don't know. No, I wouldn't, and I don't mean that in a bad way at all. I just if that is your most favorite book, I think it's a really good book in terms of education. And I think you'll learn a lot. And I think it really helps you understand people and human nature and just what people are doing behind closed doors. But yeah, no, I might have to agree with her.
Okay,
But I'm
well,
not saying I don't mean the book is bad or if you read it, you're no, I'm the one who handed you that book. Like,
yeah. Yeah, no. I mean, see, I like the book because it goes through a lot. It's actually a big book too, but I like it just because
no,
it's
she's thick.
yeah, she is. But it's good though because I like the way that it shows you basically different ways of looking at situations in life. I
Yeah.
would say my favorite book is Rich Dad Poor Dad, for the record. That is the book that sparked my self-development journey. Like that reading that book literally sparked everything. Um,
Yeah.
because again, in the book he explains everything, all his lessons in a story.
You know what book I just finished too, listening to is The One Thing by Gary Keller and Jay Papasan. And it actually has a lot of really, really good stuff in there. So I recommend you
Ooh.
sitting down and reading that as well or
I, s-
listening to it.
I still want to read also the Creature of Jekyll Island. That one I was like,
It's on my list to read before March 31st.
yeah, yeah. No, I feel like I've heard so many good things about it.
Yeah.
Hey, that's neuroplasticity. Reading, by the way, is neuroplasticity. It is changing your brain when you read. That's why you see some of the highest performers in the entire world reading.